Hi there, this is Kai from the Bunny Nest, and today I'd like to show you how I made this simple artist trading card using just a few supplies. I'm going to be doing an alcohol ink technique today on vellum, something that you can easily reproduce in your own space. So let's get started. I've got just a piece of artist paper. It's thin, it's not watercolor paper, it's just a light paper. I'll be using 4 shades of alcohol ink. These are all the Adirondacks by Ranger. We have Plum, Lemonade, Pool, and Citrus. And in order for those alcohol inks to move around on the substrate we'll be using, we'll need the alcohol blending solution. I'll be using the Leafy Frond at the end so that I can cut our leaf out. And I'll be using the Graceful Ferns, this beautiful fern image that will be the background for our piece. I'll be stamping today in 2 colors, Tailored Expressions Pineapple and Blue Raspberry. And I'll be using a half sheet of Tailored Expressions Vellum and some Nouveau gilding flakes. These are the copper, bright copper color. Oh, and to move my alcohol inks around, I like to use an electronics compressed gas duster. To me, this gives me good control, and I don't risk inhaling anything if I'm blowing through a straw. To me, it's just easier. I have more control, and it's cleaner. It keeps my face away from the alcohol fumes better than other options. So I'm just going to put out some of the alcohol blending solution, and then I'll start dropping my colors in. Now you will notice that the vellum does curl a little bit, but that's really not a problem. I've picked a really bendy sort of die, so you won't really notice the curl once it's in its final shape. I just love these colors. And by the way, these bottles are still, I don't know if you can see, they're largely quite full. I bought these when I first started paper crafting back in, I guess 2008. And I've used them quite often, and I still have not used up any of the bottles that I've had. But the lids do like to get sticky a little bit when they get a little bit of buildup around the edges. And this plum color, it goes a long, long way. So now we'll bring in the duster. And just move stuff around a little bit. I really am picking up too much brown, and that's where this plum and the yellow, when they get together, they like to make brown. That's okay, we can just move it around, lift it off, and go back with some more of the blue and green. Alcohol ink is very forgiving. You can take a cloth with just rubbing alcohol on it and wipe it down, and you can get it nearly back to blank. Now we did get 2 new members of the Bunny Nest today, or this week, so I got a few more hairs here than I normally do. Silly things. They're staying in the studio with me because my other bonded pair have run of the house, and I needed just a place where I can keep them kind of sequestered to themselves until they adapt a little bit and until I can get their health checks done. But they are delightful bunnies already. They came from an abused situation, so I got to look at that very carefully before I try to move them into any relationship with any other animal. All right, that's looking really pretty. a little bit more air. Now you can see that you can start getting some rims developing. And if I power this on, let's see if I can hold it close enough, you can see little tendrils spread out on there. I really like that. I like it when it does that. It just looks so filmy and organic. And while you're moving this, you're also drying it. Now when I tilt it in the light, can you see these areas where they look different? They're a little bit sticky to touch. And those are wonderful places because this is what we do. I take some gilding flakes and just sprinkle them over. These are just really tiny little pieces of copper foil. And they're liking to stick together right now. And I just lay them into those areas where it looks like we've got a little ledge built up, maybe a little sticky spot. And you just touch that foil down to it and it will stick. This is helpful if you are buying alcohol inks for your first use and you want to pick just a few select colors instead of a full set. If you have mica flakes, you don't need to get the metallics right away because these will add that little bit of metallic to your project. And you can see, I mean, barely touching this. I've had these flakes forever too. Okay, so we just rub those in till they're stuck down. Got one more big place right over here. Just until you can feel them sticking. And then rub your fingers back and forth. There's a good bit here too. Alright, I could fuss with these forever, but that's not getting you where you need to be. So, I just take a cheap, stiff bristled brush and just go over it. And it will lift the edge off if there's more flake there than the adhesive is to hold it. That adhesive is the result of the binder between the alcohol blending solution and the ink itself. And that's why it's important when you do these. If you want to do this technique with mica flakes, you need to use the alcohol blending solution because plain alcohol usually will not develop the stickiness. So get all that off. Can you see that? I just love the way that goes. All right, I'll be back in just a second. I'm going to go cut this up. Okay, and through the magic of television, here we have our leaf. Now, you can cut several out of this piece very easily. It goes through the die cut machine just beautifully. And you know, I told you that the vellum would curl, and it will. If the more product that you put on here, the more it will be inclined to curl. But this piece didn't curl very much at all. It's perfect actually. So we'll set that aside for later. Okay, so take our paper and our stamp, and actually it's easier if you go this way, isn't it? And we're not looking for a perfect image, it's not got to cover the whole face of the paper, so just that easy. Change the ink color. Going in with, this is the pineapple. And that's going to lay right over the top, so it doesn't matter that that stamping didn't go all the way to the bottom. I think that's going to be really pretty. So now what I like to do, I like to have splatters. And purple's my favorite color. I know it's not Taylor's favorite color, but that's okay. She'll let me use it because she doesn't like it. So I'm just going to get some splatters here. I mean, what's a project without fun splatters, right? And this is acrylic ink called Purple Lake. Really, really easy to do your splatters with. And they come in 1,000 colors. So I like to decorate the edges. So this is the metallic copper glaze. Just put a little bit out on my sheet there. Little goes a long way, like most supplies. And then I have this cap. And this cap is the most beautiful, most wonderful thing that Taylor ever gave me. And it's the lid that goes onto this beautiful little bottle of Traveler Size Stampers Spritz. And y'all, if you haven't used this to clean your stamps, you need to get it. But this little cover is just perfect for one of my favorite things to do, which is add circles. To me, it just kind of is a finishing touch, pulls it all together. And then once I have the light on there, I like to go back in with a darker color. And this is technically sap green hue, but when you stamp it, you'll see it just looks dark, and that's all I want. I want a dark contrast. So just get a little bit of that. It goes a long way. And just add it in. Easy to do. And it's already taking shape, isn't it? And you'll see when we bring the leaf back in, you'll be able to see how this picks up the metallic for each of those. Okay. So the way that I adhere this, it doesn't show through at all. This Tombow Mono Liquid Glue Multi, I like it. It has really good hold. It stays tacky once it's dry. And I'm only putting little dots on here because I want the leaves to kind of have some play and some movement to them. And I don't know how far down we'll go, so I'll just get the tops of these like that. Okay. Just lay it on there. Something about like that. Handy scissors. Just a little sentiment strip from the sentiment book that I have. Taylor has a ton of sentiment strips that are just ready to go. Stamp once, cut once, and you've got a whole stack. But today I wanted something that was just right at hand, and these are always right by my desk. I can get it And because white on white is hard to see, I take my little fine line brush, and this is a Derwent Graphitint in the color of Ivy. It's a water-soluble ink that is graphite based, and they come in a variety of colors, and you can just lift the color right off. I don't want that to be too wet. And I just go under and underline just a little, just to give that a little bit of a foundation. Just to anchor it. You don't like have things floating off. And so there you have it. Because we used different colors, it came out with a little bit of a different look, but I like that. It's one of the things I really love about this style of art, is no two are ever the same, and they're always beautiful, either way you go. So I thank you for joining me today, and I hope you'll give this a try. See you soon.